Well, we're going to call the meeting to order this evening. I'd like to welcome everybody who's in attendance here this evening in our audience, and thank you for coming. And as usual, we're going to begin with our public comment section. We have a number of folks signed up this evening to come and speak. And so we, again, will just remind you that you have an opportunity to come and speak for 3 minutes, and we'd like for you to give us your name and what you're here to speak about, and so we can have that as a matter of record. And so the first person that is signed up is Rex Brown, and Mr. Brown, if you will come forward. I'll just go ahead and say that you've put your address as 1711 Lee Pearson Road in Granite Falls, so appreciate you being here this evening. If you would just step to the mic, and you got 3 minutes. Yes, sir.
Yeah, my name is Rex Brown. I'm a resident of the Lee Pearson Road in the Baton community. I've lived out there for, let me be careful, 64 years. It'll be 65 in June. My wife and I, 40 years, Vicki, we live out there, and I'm just mainly here tonight to represent the Higgins family more than the racetrack. I have lost a grandson last July to terminal brain cancer. And it was through that tragic event that I became acquainted with the Higgins family. I think what we're doing here in Caldwell County is we're taking all of the past owners of the racetrack and we're trying to paint the Higgins family with the same brush that those folks, how they behaved. I know they challenged the commissioners, they tried to buck the ordinances, they tried to do things their own way and how they wanted to do it. But folks, I have intimately got acquainted with the Higgins family, and that's not their heart, and that's not them. It saddened my heart to see all of the character assassinations on Facebook today. Calling the Higgins family, they're liars, they're cheaters, they're crooks, they're this, they're that. They're not. They ministered to me deeply during my son's tragic time of brain cancer. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to get emotional, but we lost him last July. And those men, they reached out to me. I'm not a racer. I don't own a race car. I can't crank a race car. But they reached out to me, and they got other businesses they run, and they would personally call me during the day and say, Rex, how's Deaston doing? Rex, how's the family doing? Is there anything you need? Made financial contributions to my family, took that kid places that a 12-year-old would have never went. And I'm sorry we lost him. I'm sorry it was that tragic, but I'm not mainly here tonight to debate about decibel readings. We've got some of those. They're very revealing. Some was took this last weekend. I'm not here to talk about the noise. Some lady says she had to sleep in her basement on Saturday nights on Facebook. But a lot of the things that are being said on Facebook are misinformation, tragic misinformation. If you guys change the ordinance, they're going to be racing 6 days a week over there. Where do you get a crowd 6 days a week to hold a race? Everybody's at work. All they're looking for is a little practice time where you'll have 1 or 2 cars on the track. They go out, make 4 or 5 laps, they park the thing and then work on it for about an hour and maybe take it back out for 4 or 5 laps. That's basically what they're asking for. But I fell in love with the Higgins family. I know them personally. I know them deeply. I know a comment was made on Facebook that the racetrack does everything it can do to fight the community. Guys, they've held revivals over at that track. They've had distribution drop-off points for the hurricane victims. These guys have a heart for our community. I know they don't blend in with certain people in the community. These folks have fought the track since its inception. I understand that. I get that. It is loud. I get that. But I live the same distance from the track as those who oppose the track. The things they complain about, I face them too. One says they have to yell at each other in their front yard to talk on Saturday nights. That was on Facebook. They have to turn their TV up real loud. I live the same distance away, and we don't have those problems with the racetrack. Yes, that's my main objective tonight, to say that, you know, my wife and I sleep good of a night. We don't have to go get in the basement and sleep because of the racetrack. Some of these statements are preposterous. Some of them are false. Some of them are just made up out of emotional upheaval, hoping that we can do something about the track and shut it down.
Sir, your time is up.
Thank you. I just want to stand for the Higgins family more than the racetrack.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Yes, sir. And next we have C.R. Davis, 1300 Hamby Street in Granite Falls, North Carolina. Mr. Davis, welcome this evening.
Yes, sir. Once again, C.R. Davis, Charles Davis. I live at 1300 Hamby Street, and I came to speak up about the racetrack as well. Since the new amendment to the racetrack, I can attest from my personal experience that it's quite loud with the test and tune stuff. It's not run a couple laps, practice a while. It's full out, multiple hours, and the new amendment going forward would extend that to 50 hours a week, 9 months out of the year, which is just very disappointing that something like that's being considered to me and my family. It affects our quality of life. My wife works from home. She has issues working and communicating and taking meetings at home and communicating on the phone. I'm eligible for 16 hours a week of teleworking. I'm able to periodically work at home. I've had issues with working at home because of the test and tune, and it's not only that, but it's very loud going outside, playing with my kids. I get it. You know, we moved next to a racetrack, but when I signed up to move there, it was a couple days a week, and we all just compromised, and we live together as a community. And 6 days a week, 50 hours a week, just wide open, it's not compromise. It's just disregard, in my opinion. So it affects us negatively in our personal lives, our professional lives. I'm significantly worried about the D value of my home if it does run that many hours per week, and I decide that, you know, this maybe just isn't the place for me. I'm worried about being able to sell that home. And these are all major concerns of mine. I mentioned that I do have children. My children go to school at Baton Elementary. I know the noise from the test and tune operations are very audible and loud in the parking lot when I pick them up. It affects their ability to go outside for recess. It's approximately 6/10 of a mile over on that side from the racetrack to the school. I also have acquaintances of mine that I have been inside their house. It's also 6/10 of a mile from the racetrack to the due east, and I can hear the cars inside their house, which leads me to believe with an uptick from 1 weekday to 5 weekdays of running, that's going to affect my child's ability to learn. You know, kids don't need any more distractions than they already have in the classroom, and truly I'm concerned about it. Those are my concerns that I have, and I'd like to not you just come to you with concerns, but, you know, also come to you with, you know, maybe a way we can compromise. And, you know, my thoughts are there's plenty of short tracks all over the United States that are putting in sufficient sound barriers, using equipment modifications on their vehicles to quiet the noise. I think there's compromises to be made, and the compromises I would suggest is erect the sound barrier that's supposed to be erected, that's now, as far as I can tell, 10 or 15, 20 power poles down a hedgerow. I'm pretty concerned as to what's going to be put up along those power poles that's going to be a sufficient sound barrier to knock it down. And the other thing I'm concerned about is, you know, what are we measuring this by? I think the gentleman before me was saying that there has been some measurements. The only measurements and testing that I'm aware of was conducted in 2009. And I know with everything else, technology's come a long way in the last 15 years. And I wonder if there's any plans to do any more further testing. And if so, are we going to do testing before and after, and what's our acceptable thresholds? I'm opposed to the extension. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you,
sir.
Jamie.
Thank you. Next is Lisa Wallace, 1296 Hamby Street, Granite Falls. Miss Wallace?
Thank you, guys. Thank you, County Commissioners. I know Rex, and Rex, I did not realize about your son, and I'm really sorry. And you know what? He's talking about the Higgins. That's encouraging, because I feel like, to me, that says that maybe there can be some compromise. I stood here 15 years ago and did the same thing, asking for ordinances to be upheld and that kind of thing. 25 years before that, my dad was the original one to, before the racetrack was even built, they found out it was going to be built, you know, really worked. We just felt like Baton was a quiet community, and it is. And so, you know, it's been 40 years this has been going on back and forth. But I am glad that they're good people, and that encourages me. That really does encourage me to hear that. But, you know, I live right next to Rob, and I can tell you that there are times that you cannot hear when we have to turn up the TV. We can't hear each other inside the house, or we're standing outside and we literally have to yell at each other. It is loud because we are on that turn 1 and 2, and we're what, maybe a mile and a half maybe from there, and it is extremely loud. I do have a recording of this was July, I think it was on a Tuesday, of just if you want me to play it, I can kind of give you kind of. Now that's a test, that's one car. And realize this is a video. If you're standing on it, it's a lot louder in person. And then the whole thing is just like that, and it kind of goes around. So it is, you know, I don't want to shut down a business, but my family's lived in Bayton since the 40s. My dad moved there, and I love Bayton. And the property that we're at, my dad bought that property years ago because we were on the Conley Springs Road right there in the heart of Bayton, and my dad wanted to get off the road because of the noise. And that was about 1976. And we bought the property that we're at now. And it has always, if you come back there, the first thing people say was like, man, this is so nice and quiet. And that's the first thing. It's beautiful, it's quiet, you know. And yes, it is. So, I mean, I'm just saying, I really think barriers need to put it up. We need to talk about this and make a compromise. I would really appreciate that to be considered, if at all possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wallace.
Thank you.
Next, we have Jackie McCool, 4360 Country Lane. So welcome.
Jackie McCool on Country Lane, 2 doors down from Rob and 1 door down from Lisa, or 2 doors down. I moved to my home because it was peaceful and quiet. That's what I sought out, and that was 9 years ago, and my understanding was the racetrack was not operating in that moment. I'm also not here to shut down a business. I'm here to ask you to not extend the race times, the practice times. I listened to the meeting last year, and we were told, or you all were told, that there would be sound barriers put up. And to my knowledge, they're not put up. I think the solution is to put them up and then also test to see that sound. It depends on where you're living. My understanding is that some people, that was spoken last year, was that some people living right close to it are lower than the racetrack, and so the sound isn't as annoying. I'm living up higher. I'm running parallel with Connolly Springs Road going towards Cages Mountain. So I'm even higher than Rob and Lisa are. I am the one that sleeps in her basement, and that's not an exaggeration, because it's too loud for me to sleep. I'm an early to bed, early to rise person, and 9 o'clock is my bedtime even in the summer. And my basement is no windows, it's like a bunker down there. And that's where I have to go to get my sleep. I'm all about health, and sleep is very important. And I would really appreciate if you all would just consider not extending those hours, not messing with anybody's business. I'm thankful too, like Lisa said, that there's good, people of integrity that own the business. I'm a small business owner myself and come from that. It's not about that. But I think there does need to be an acceptance with everybody, a happy medium there, and take everybody into consideration. And that's just my viewpoints, and I hope that you all will really consider that, and that putting up those barriers and testing that sound. As I think Lisa maybe had said, come stand on my porch. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McCool.
So it turns out that Mom and Daddy was right. 9 o'clock is the right bedtime.
That's right.
Yeah.
Early to bed, early to bed.
Yeah.
Next is Brenda, and I can't make it out, but McCurry, okay. And that's 4391 Country Lane.
That's right. Mr. Chairman, I live on an extension from Hamby Street, Country Lane. And when I moved there to that little house, it was quiet and peaceful, and I loved it. I have problems sleeping because of the noise. I am 82 years old. I'll soon be 83. And I do sleep with pillows over my head when these race cars are racing. I don't have anything against race cars. I used to go to races all the time, and I loved them. But I don't think it's fair that some people has to suffer through all this noise. And I don't know where any of you gentlemen live, but I'm sure if you lived where I lived, you would be right up here speaking the same as I'm speaking, because the noise is unbearable at night. And I just hope that you guys will take into consideration what us ordinary people go through, trying to sleep at night, trying to sit out on my deck in the afternoons, and there's so much noise that I just have to give it up and go inside, which there's still noise, but not as bad as on my deck at night and in the summer and in the afternoon. And I just hope that you will consider making a change, whether it's barriers or whether you cut down these hours that you're trying to add on. But us ordinary people would be very happy if you would consider that. And thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McCurry.
Thank you, ma'am.
Next is Michael Rawls, 1352 Hamby Street.
Good evening.
Good
I know
evening.
most of y'all up there. My name's Mike Rawls. I live on Hamby Street. I live about a 6/10 of a mile from the Tri-County Motor Speedway, as the crow flies. I've lived there for 25 years, so I've heard trouble in turn 2 many times over the years. I support racing and Tri-County Speedway, 100%. The new ownership over the past few years has done an amazing job, because there's been many nights in the summer that we should have been racing, and we weren't racing. With their success, the noise level has increased. There's more cars there, there's more people there, we hear it. Also, with Hurricane Helene, many of us on Hamby Street and on Country Lane lost natural barriers, and you can go see the holes that are in there from the trees that went down. I lost 9 Leland cypresses that did protect me somewhat, and behind Nathan Bean's house, you can see where there was a line of Fraser firs and white pines that are now gone. I want to make it clear, I do not want the racetrack to close. I do not want a reduction in the number of races. But I also don't support increasing the number of days, Monday through Thursday, from February to November, from 10 to 4 of racing. And it is going to be racing, because I know how guys are. We're going to get out there, we're going to tune our cars, and we're going to race each other, and it's going to get loud. Whether it's 1 car, 2 car, 3 cars, 4 cars. It should also be noted that many people in our communities work third shifts that live in this area, from our first responders to our law enforcement officers to healthcare employees to those that work in MDI. Now we're asking them to try to sleep while there's racing occurring Monday through Saturday. People have said, well, you moved there, you knew what was going to happen. When I moved there, it was for Friday and Saturday racing, not Monday through Thursday with cars running. On another hand, I've heard about this sound barrier that's out there, that's supposed to have been installed, that will make a difference. Why is it not? With all this being said, I'm going to ask 3 requests of the board. I ask the board to mandate that there is a sound barrier to be complete. I ask that they conduct a noise pollution before and after the sound barrier installation to determine if any other actions are needed. And finally, I ask if the test and tune is approved, that it only be approved for during the weeks of a race week. So Monday through Thursday, the week that they have the racing on the weekend, that would be the only time that it be approved, not every week from February to November. I thank you for your attention to this. Have a great day.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Ross.
Next, we have Stephanie Alexander, 5179 Landry View Drive in Granite Falls.
Good evening, gentlemen, everybody. Well, I promised I'd be back in April. I was here February. We were talking about litter. Nice, easy topic, okay. So, I've been doing some research, and I have found that we've got a real problem all over the United States. Now, I've only lived in North Carolina for 6 years, and we love this state. It's a beautiful state. But everywhere you go, you're stepping over and you're looking at litter along the highways. But also, too, I would like to see Caldwell County be a poster child for doing something about it. Not just working, but thinking about how we can put out some kind of a statement that says we stand for less litter. We want to see our area cleaned up. We're seeing an onslaught of people coming up from the south. The developers are moving in. They're building homes faster than you can, see them go up 1 week to a month, and there's 4 houses on a street. This is going to trash our roadways, our parks, our businesses, lakes, and rivers. And I'd like to see how many people that are even here tonight would get on board with taking the stand that it's just not about picking up garbage. It's changing our mind about littering. We need to start thinking differently, and we can do that starting tonight. Talk to people about it. Start trying to get a consensus generally that we don't have to stand for this. We can be the catalyst to start the movement to no longer accept what's happening out there. I think we need to bring back public shame for littering. I have some more information. I know it's a tight schedule tonight, so I'll be back in May with more information. But I'd like to work with the county that has already got the spring cleanup program in the works for April 21st through the 25th, and give us what we need to do the job. And I think you have those resources at another location that people can come and pick up and actually do what I'm talking about. Get together with a good spirit, meet some new like-minded friends, do some good, maybe have some fun along the way. And I hope some of you are with me on this topic. I have a sign-up sheet tonight. If anybody would like to just put their name and a way that I can contact you, and then we'll get together and start making a change. I also have another avenue that is going to address some of the major corporations, companies that are responsible. And we're going to get them on board. We're going to get them to put out notices and try to get them to do some money. But the state of North Carolina is spending $22 million a year for trash. And I think we can do something better about that.
Yeah.
I did have one other request. Abby, can I do my other request while I'm up here? I had two requests in. All right, I'll just hurry up.
Go ahead. I noticed you signed 2 sheets, so.
Is there any money left in the Hurricane Helene tree debris fund? I've got on Grace Chapel Road down in South Caldwell County and Rocky Mount Road, right off of that, some real major trees that are hanging just at the very edges of roadways that could be a danger. If anybody veered off at all, they'd be running into big trunks of trees. Is there any money left that we can get these areas cleaned up off of people's property?
So we're taking those requests on our website and a phone call. So we've been publicizing that really well, and you can reach out to Abby or.
And then I'll get with you tomorrow.
Yeah, and
Okay.
just notify us where those locations are, and we're trying to get to those.
Good. Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I will say, as she's leaving, just as a point of comment, that litter has been a major issue in our county for a number of years. And not only is the state of North Carolina spending $22 million, annually, we're budgeting right around $350,000 to pick it up with some contracted labor that we have just in Caldwell County that we're not getting reimbursed for. So if there's any way to change the mindset on litter, we will certainly would like to hear it. We've had a staff position hired that kind of heads all that up, and so we're really trying to address it from our level. But as this lady spoke to, it's getting a mindset change, and we haven't been able to accomplish that yet. So, and then our final sign up tonight is Daniel Duncan, 4370 Hickory Nut Ridge Road. So, Mr. Duncan.
Thank you all. Yeah, I'm Daniel Duncan. I live right across the street from Tri-County Speedway. Family's been there since before the Speedway was ever there, so it's always been in the family. Definitely all for a sound barrier. It'd be great if we heard any type of update on that, but the biggest thing I have is like the big trucks that come in to haul in the cars. We're a residential road. Our roads are super narrow. I've even been hit by one of the trailers before with my car. have been run off the road. I've seen other people have to veer off the road because of how big the trailers are. It's not the trailer's fault, it's just the roads are so narrow. But it causes an issue. We've had people back into our driveway and park there for a while, and we can't get out because they're waiting to either the track to open or anything like that. We spend our Sundays picking up beer bottles, broken bottles, trash all up and down our road. We have, usually we get about a bag worth of trash after a race night. Big concern of mine is I have 5 kids. We homeschool. If they're out there running practice laps, which we've heard plenty often, they don't have restrictor plates anymore because the sound ordinances are changed from the last decade. So the kids just get headaches, they have to go inside. It disrupts our life quite a bit. So expending the amount of time through the week would be really hard on my family. Weekend, we knew that there's a racetrack there. It's not like it's a surprise to us. But a big concern with expended driving time would be our house value, because if we were to sell our house during show times, if people were running the racetrack, it is loud. I mean, I know some people are a little further away and we're really close. It is just as loud. Our neighbor, his porch is about a foot lower than it was whenever it was built, because it was my uncle who built the house. So, there is damage and house concerns about that. We've had bad driving. We've had mailboxes knocked over before. We've had mailboxes knocked down, both my house and neighbor houses. So it gets to be a problem whenever, the kids are out playing, and even, 8, 9 o'clock at night, and you hear people cussing because they're rowdy. That's going to happen down there too. But sound barrier would take care of a lot of that. So I would just really appeal to you to mindfully think about the expansion of more track time, because it's not just the track time, it's all the extra stuff that comes along with the track time, from the traffic, from the big trucks, and from the disruption. So thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
All right, that brings us to everyone that has signed up for our public comment portion. And so we will enter into our meeting as soon as our man behind the curtain tells us he's good to go. All right, again, welcome to everyone who's in our audience this evening, and those who are now joining us by Facebook, YouTube, television, and any other medium that we can publicize on. We appreciate everyone being here this evening, and we'll get our meeting started now. And our first item is having our invocation, and Pastor Steve Parker with the Miller Hill Baptist Church is with us this evening, and that will be followed with our Pledge of Allegiance, and Commissioner Patrick Starnes will lead us in that. So, Pastor Parker, if you'll come forth and...
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to read one verse of scripture before we pray. The Bible says in Psalm 111, verse 10, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments. His praise endureth forever." And for what I've heard tonight, you need wisdom. And you must fear him to have that wisdom. And if you'll do that, he'll give you the wisdom to do what needs to be done. Would you pray with me? Our Father, we pause today to thank you for Jesus. Thank you for loving us. Thank you for the day you've given us to live. Thank you for your death, burial, and resurrection, and in that we can have salvation. Father, we pray tonight for this meeting. We pray for the leadership of Caldwell County. Ask, Lord, that you would help them to have wisdom to do the things and make the decisions they need to make. We thank you for our community, all that makes it up. And Father, tonight we need you in a very special way. So we ask tonight that you would bless us with your presence, guide, lead, and direct this meeting, and again, help us to understand that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Bless your people tonight, and we'll praise you for it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Pastor Parker. Do we have any amendments to our agenda this evening?
Mr. Chairman, yes, a couple of items. You should have a new, for number 2, a new copy of the Vista Ventures Development Agreement. A couple of just small, very minor changes that are on that agreement. Then also number 6, the conveyance of surplus property. There is a new updated resolution there. Again, very small change, but you should have a copy of that as well. And then the final thing is we need to strike number 18 on the consent agenda, the resolution. That is not, we don't have that for you tonight. So.
All right. So hearing the recommendation of our agenda, what's the pleasure of the board in adopting the agenda this evening?
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept this evening's agenda as the county manager has presented.
All right. Any other discussion or comment? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries unanimously. And the first item on our agenda this evening is a gift to the Lim family as well as UNC Healthcare. And this is in honor of Dr. Lim, one of our community doctors that tragically lost his life. And so we wanted to honor him. And I know there's some folks here and going to receive this evening. So, Dr. Snyder, yeah. Who's coming? Dr. Lowry and this Miss Lim? Okay, all right. So what we're going to do is come down, Miss Lim, and we've got the proclamation over here, resolution, and so we approved this a little while ago in our meeting in February. But we just haven't been able to get it presented to you folks, and so we have a copy of it for you this evening as well, and a copy to hang there in the hospital and recognition. But it's pretty lengthy, but it basically says that we now let it be resolved on behalf of the citizens of Caldwell County. County Commissioners publicly commend Dr. Roger Lim for his 20 years of faithful service to the citizens. If you'd like to say anything or not, you don't have to. Dr. Lowry, but he could probably talk enough for both of us. So, well, I could check. If you want to say something, you're certainly welcome to.
We really we really miss Roger. Roger is an incredible man, incredible husband, incredible father. About everyone.
All right. Next on our agenda is an economic development agreement with Vista Ventures Development. And Miss Ashley Bolick, our EDC director, is with us this evening, going to explain all of this to us.
Yes, that's right. Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners, members of the audience. Thank you all for being here. I'll try to keep this brief as the man behind the mirror pulls up the presentation.
Yes, ma'am. I like the man behind the curtain from Wizard of Oz.
Oh, okay.
Pulling all those buttons.
Pulling the levers and all the strings. Okay, so I'm here tonight as part of the Economic Development Vista Ventures Agreement presentation, just to explain a little bit more about Vista Ventures and the partnership and why. Really, what's the purpose of this? I'd like to thank the president of Vista Ventures for being here, Mr. Chase Keller. Also with me tonight is Mr. Ernie Pearson, who's an attorney, economic development attorney and consultant working with Vista Ventures, helping us pull this stuff together. So what is Vista Ventures? Vista Ventures is a nonprofit corporation that has been established to promote and improve economic development for the citizens of Caldwell County. Basically, we want to reduce the burdens of local government, and it's our intention to work through Vista Ventures to acquire land and develop business parks, construct economic development buildings or shell buildings, to recruit businesses and industries to Caldwell County. So we're authorized to do this under North Carolina General Statute. So General Statute 158 reads that the county is authorized to acquire, construct, convey, or lease a building suitable for industrial or commercial use as part of the public purpose to promote economic development. Additionally, it says that the county is authorized to acquire and develop land for the industrial park to be used for industrial commercial purposes. Then in General Statute 153A, it says that the county is authorized to contract with an appropriate money to any person, association, or corporation in order to carry out the public purpose that the county authorizes or is authorized by law to engage in. So who else does it this way? So looking at our neighbors in western North Carolina, I threw a couple people up on the slide just so you would be familiar with these. The ones listed in the first column all do it through a private or a nonprofit organization. Alexander, Burke, Catawba, Cleveland, Gaston, Lincoln, McDowell, Rutherford, Watauga, Wilkes, just to name a few. Those in our area that do it just as a public or a government office are Allegheny, Ash, and Avery, and you don't think of them traditionally as doing economic development in the sense of trying to recruit a lot of industry, manufacturing to those areas. Those are a little bit more tourist economies. So Caldwell County, we are public. I am a county employee. I work for the county manager who reports to you, and all my team. We work for you and our budget's from you, so we appreciate that and know that. But through this partnership with Vista Ventures, the private nonprofit group, we'll be able to be more competitive and compete with our neighbors to get these projects here, which we want to do because we want to be competitive, we want to raise the tax base, we want to increase the number of high-paying jobs in Caldwell County. So looking at the state, those were just some of our local neighbors. Here's a comparison of the state offices and how economic development works. Basically, 50% of the state economic development offices are run as government or public organizations, while the other 50% either as a private nonprofit group or as part of a chamber of commerce are run as a nonprofit. So the purpose of the agreement is just basically to establish a formal agreement with Vista Ventures and the county, and it allows me as a county staff person to staff and manage Vista Ventures with the board of directors oversight. So the county would transfer funds according to law and at the discretion of the board of commissioners. So on a case-by-case, project-by-project, Vista Ventures would come to you and request for your support on certain economic development projects. So as I mentioned, Mr. Chase Keller is here tonight. He's the president of Vista Ventures. We also have several other members of a board. We have a fantastic board of Vista Ventures. Lisa Starnes, Freddie Davis, Mr. Michael LaBrose, who represents the county's interest on that board. There's always a seat for a county representative on the Vista Ventures board. Miss Katie Woodle and James Henson. So again, stating the purpose, Vista Ventures will manage the projects. So this would be acquiring land, putting up shell buildings, and we'll report back to you, the county commissioners, on a semi-annual basis or more regularly as you would want us to be here. But again, our job is to grow the tax base and to create jobs. A little bit of information for the commissioners tonight from the state level. And I think this is really helpful in understanding why we need Vista Ventures Development to be able to be competitive. But last week, the state level Economic Development Office, EDPNC, or the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina, released its real estate report for 2024. So these are all the projects that come from the state level, what they're seeing. So you can see here that they had 326 new businesses or new companies coming to North Carolina, or projects, potential projects. And the vast majority, 76% of those, were in manufacturing, and that's our bread and butter. We're a manufacturing economy. We make things here, and we want to keep making things here. So this is real interesting. So this says what it is that these businesses want. So this year, 80 projects, or 48% of all those manufacturing projects, wanted an existing building. What's real interesting about this is if you look at the two smaller squares there going back to 2022, only 34% of the projects wanted an existing building. More people wanted raw land to build their own building. Then you push forward to 2023 and you see that number grew a little bit more. 38% wanted an existing building. And now in 2024, you see 48% of the projects wanted an existing building. That's great. Speed to market, someone can get a building, move in quickly, and start doing what it is they're going to do to make money. Whereas if you get raw land and put up a building, it takes a little bit more time. So from our office's side of things in 2024, there were 74 RFIs, or requests for information, where we were able to respond to 17. So these were 17 out of 74 projects that we had product for, either raw land or a building that they were looking for. In those 74 requests, 53%, or the majority, were looking for sites that were 50 acres or above. And then 55% were looking for 100,000 square feet or more. And honestly, we just don't have that much inventory, not that meet those demands. A lot of times ceiling heights, utility capacity, or sometimes even the building quality comes into play. Currently, today, as of right now, if someone comes to me and says, hey, Ashley, I want to bring my business to Caldwell County, I have 7 buildings that I can look at and hope and pray that they work for them. Here's an image from our website taken just today of the 7 properties that we have, and I think only one of them was built in the last 30 years. Some of them are various sizes, some of them are, better suited for industrial or manufacturing than others. But that's what I'm working with, and that makes it really hard to compete and get the kind of quality projects here that I know the commissioners would like to see. Just a little bit more information about 2024 state level economic development projects. The majority of them are looking for something 200,000 square feet or smaller. I think our bread and butter is somewhere around the 100,000 square foot and smaller. We have quite a few projects right now that are looking for 20,000 square foot around that ballpark. In summary, I think the county approving this agreement and working with Vista Ventures makes us more competitive. It helps us move faster and keep up with the demands of market. It helps us to increase our tax base faster and to create jobs. So respectfully, I ask that the commissioners approve this agreement between Vista Ventures and the county for economic development. Not as presented, though. As Mr. Rash mentioned, there was one edit to the copy that you have in front of you. As noted by our county attorney, in section 2.02, he suggested that we strike the 0% or a rate to make the sentence read, "The note shall bear an interest rate to be mutually agreed upon by the parties." So I'm asking that the commissioners approve the agreement as presented with that edit.
All right. So, and I trust everybody's had an opportunity to review that. And thank you for your presentation this evening, Ms. Bullock. And so I'll ask what the pleasure of the board is in adopting this agreement this evening with Vista Ventures.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve this agreement with Vista Ventures as presented with the amendment by Ms. Bullock.
All right. Is there any other discussion or comment? I will say that just to enlighten our public and the viewers that may see this, This is really a joint venture, if you will, between the county and Vista Ventures, and what we're trying to do and accomplish in bringing business to our county. And it's a little bit of thinking outside the box. And so we are taking a step that we've seen other communities and other parts of the state do, and it's been very prosperous for those folks. And so we're pursuing that as well here in Caldwell County. And one reason, and many people don't realize, but government, our sales are so restricted by what we're allowed to do and how we're allowed to do it and all the things that goes along with that. So contracting with a nonprofit, they're not as restricted in some areas as we are as government. So I think it's going to be a great asset to our county, and the ability to be able to do that, and perhaps get some buildings built under construction and move-in ready, and start leasing those as soon as possible. So we're moving forward with all of that, and hope we can land some of those 17 businesses that you reached out to last year, and have them something to be able to come to, because we know our inventory is pretty well limited at this point and what we have available within the county.
That's correct. Actively, as of today, we counted 21 projects that we're working. So it's 21 new businesses or expanding businesses in Caldwell County that we're trying to help make successful.
And we got 7 available business
Yep.
buildings.
Yep.
So ranging in size.
Yep.
So, all right. So we've got a motion on the floor. Any other comment? I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries unanimously. So
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, for being here.
Thank you guys for being here.
Yeah, thanks.
Go find us some business now. All right, next is a proclamation for Child Abuse Prevention Month, and we have Tanya Matchey and Laura Harrison here, who is going to present that this evening. So thank you, ladies, for being here. Oh, and you're bringing the boss up with you, too?
Yeah,
Yeah, oh, yeah, here she comes.
She can't set this out. Okay. How are y'all this evening?
Doing great. Hope you are.
So I'm going to read the proclamation, and then Tanya, who works for the Guardian Ad Litem office, is somebody, herself and the program we partner with a lot, and with the families that we work with. And so she's got something to read as well. So, whereas we recognize that children are vital to our county, state, and nation's future success, prosperity, and quality of life, as well as being our most vulnerable assets. Whereas all children deserve to have the safe, stable, nurturing homes and communities they need to foster their healthy growth and development. Whereas Caldwell County received 1,724 reports of child abuse and neglect, and investigated reports involving 1,056 children in 2024. Whereas children who experience abuse and neglect have higher rates of academic failure, chronic long-term health issues, and increased propensity to violence if gone untreated. Whereas child abuse and neglect is a community responsibility affecting both the current and future quality of life of a community. Whereas communities that provide parents with social support, knowledge of parenting and child development, and concrete resources they need to cope with stress and nurture their children ensure all children grow to their full potential. Whereas effective child abuse prevention strategies succeed because of partnerships created among citizens, human services agencies, schools, faith communities, healthcare providers, civic organizations, law enforcement agencies, and the business community.
You gonna read the now therefore be it resolved?
I can, or?
Yep.
Now, there be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Caldwell County does hereby proclaim April 2025 as Child Abuse Prevention Month, and calls upon all citizens, community agencies, faith groups, medical facilities, elected leaders, and businesses to increase their participation in an effort to support children and families, thereby preventing child abuse and strengthening the community in which we live.
Thank you. I like your reading better. It's better than mine. So.
Well, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So having heard the proclamation. I'll entertain a motion to adopt it this evening.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the resolution for Child Abuse Prevention Month as read.
All right, any other comment or discussion about that? I just will say that as you were reading through those numbers, it's hard to think about that we've had 1,724 reports of child abuse or neglect in Caldwell County in 2024. And so thank you for everything you do for our children and for the young people. And we certainly appreciate your willingness to be able to do that, because I know it's not an easy job. And so we do thank you for that. All right, so hearing the motion, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that carries unanimously. So, yes, ma'am.
So then partnering with that, April is recognized as Child Abuse Prevention Month and also Guardian Ad Litem or GAL Advocate Month. The GAL volunteers in Caldwell County work tirelessly to advocate for children, the best interest for the children who are involved in the court system due to abuse or neglect, and to bring awareness to child abuse prevention. North Carolina Governor Josh Stein has proclaimed April as GAL Advocate Month, and he has made a proclamation for that, if I may read that. And the writing is small, so bear with me.
Yes, ma'am.
Whereas the North Carolina Guardian Ad Litem program has a distinguished record of public service through the work of enhancing the quality of life for abused and neglected children petitioned in dependency court for over 40 years. And whereas all 100 counties in North Carolina have a Guardian Ad Litem program, and whereas all Guardian Ad Litem programs recruit, screen, train, and supervise volunteer child advocates to speak for the best interest of the child served, and whereas Guardian Ad Litem volunteers come from a variety of professional, educational, and professional backgrounds and act as advocates for abused and neglected children involved in unfamiliar court and child welfare systems, and whereas all Guardian Ad Litem volunteer child advocates are paired with an attorney and supervised by the assigned local Guardian Ad Litem program, the district courts also appoint Guardian Ad Litem volunteer child advocates to serve as officers helping to improve the quality of information presented to the court and acting as the court's eyes and ears in the child's life. And whereas every child deserves a voice in court, but not every child has a Guardian Ad Litem volunteer, abuse and neglect have long-term personal, economic, and social costs and have the real potential of hurting North Carolina's children today and in the future. And whereas April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, an observance that reflects the purpose of the Guardian Ad Litem program, which is to protect and defend children from harm and ensure the children who experience abuse and neglect are provided with the court-ordered services they need. And whereas April is recognized annually in the United States as time to honor the contributions of volunteers through the National Volunteer Month, more than 3,000 Guardian Ad Litem child advocates donated hours of service to children in 2024. Now thereof, I, Josh Stein, Governor of the State of North Carolina, do hereby proclaim April 2025 as Guardian Ad Litem Advocate Month in North Carolina and commend its observance to all citizens.
All right, so hearing the proclamation read, I'll make a motion that we adopt that this evening. And any other comments or discussion from my fellow commissioners?
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, if not, but we appreciate the Guardian Ad Litem program, and I will give you an opportunity for a public service announcement, as we call it, your 30-second elevator speech, because I know you're consistently looking for volunteers for that program.
Yes.
So how could somebody volunteer, and how can they reach out?
Please contact the Guardian Ad Litem office in Caldwell County, 828-729-3521. Reach out to Jennifer Bowman or Tanya Matchey, and we'll be happy to help set you up. We've got a training hopefully starting within the next month, and would love to have every child deserves a voice in court. And statistics prove that if a child is paired with a GAL volunteer, they reach permanence at a much faster rate than someone who is not represented by a volunteer.
Yes, ma'am.
So we appreciate your time this evening and considering and recognizing the work that the GAL program does.
And I've got a couple friends that are in the program, and they routinely talk about the good things that accomplishes. And so,
Absolutely. We would love to have
if
anyone
I
who
ever
is
get
willing.
any time, that's the one I'm volunteering for.
Yeah.
But I don't have too much time right now. But
I think you just volunteered, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I'll try.
We can set you up. Plenty to go
It
around.
is a worthy program.
I make a motion.
Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. More to do. All right, so any other comment? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that carries unanimously, so.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies,
Thank
for
you for y'all
being
for
here.
being here.
Kim, did you have anything you needed to say tonight? I mean, we don't want to
You don't want
deny
to give, you want to make sure you give me the opportunity to
Yes,
speak.
ma'am.
I'll just say that we work very well with the garden ad litem, and we could not do the job that we do without all of the partners that Laura mentioned in the proclamation, especially the garden ad litem, who is that voice for the child in court. It's a
Right.
very important role that they play, and I'll just echo what Tanya said, that if anyone wants to volunteer for that program, they could definitely use that, and I think people get great satisfaction for what they do in that role.
Right, and they can make a difference in a
They can make a
child's
difference.
life. So
Yes.
it's very important. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
All right, next is Becky Price, and we have a Caldwell and Pasquotank MOU, or a Memorandum of Understanding for alternate routing. So, boy, you're going to explain that one to us, aren't you, Becky?
This is an easy explanation. So basically, this MOU, we learned a lot when Helene come through. And the board, the 911 board actually recommends 4 friends throughout the state. And those friends become your backup, your 911 backup, basically. And what they recommend is each section of the state, you have a backup, which makes sense. You know, the Western North Carolina part of, we suffered tremendously, whereas your coastal regions, they fared very well. It's usually vice versa for us. And so basically what this will do is, heaven forbid we have another Helene, this will be able to transfer our calls down there. If we were in a situation we couldn't transfer around us because they were in the same situation. So it was easier to transfer a distance and then be able to help us out,
Right.
basically.
Yes, ma'am.
We're
So
still
it's-
looking for 3 other friends.
Well,
It's a work in progress.
It's great to have that ability, and through the
Absolutely.
backbone and trunking and all the things that goes along
Mhm.
with communications now, that is a great ability. So it's kind of hard to fathom, though, that in an emergency, you'd dial 911 and somebody in Pasquotank County could answer the call.
And it's so much easier.
And dispatch it for
It's so
us.
much easier for us now than it used to be. It used to be that we were on the phone with AT&T or whoever, and sometimes it would take minutes and minutes and minutes, sometimes
Right.
hours. We don't really have that in 911.
Right.
Every minute counts.
Yes, ma'am.
So for us to be able to pick up the phone and call the state, it takes it out of our hands and puts it in theirs, and it's the flip of a switch for them.
Right.
So it's just so much easier for us.
And I can remember the days that you had to physically get up and go somewhere else. So
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing what technology has done.
Yep, we're very lucky that we have a 911 board that is eager to move forward.
Right. Yes, ma'am. Very well. So do I hear a motion that we adopt this MOU for Pasquotank County?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Any other comment or discussion about that? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries. And then another important aspect of our telecommunicators is recognizing Telecommunications Week. And so Miss Becky Price has got a resolution in
Start say
that.
I brought some backup.
Oh, Lord. Well,
For the ones that could come. First I'd like to say is, we have a tremendous group of 911 dispatchers. I mean, they rock. That's the only thing I can say. They are really good at what they do, and they care about this county. They care what goes on, and this is their week. So I'll start reading this
Yes,
now.
ma'am.
Whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, or emergency medical services, and whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas the safety of our police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the Caldwell County Emergency Communications Center, and whereas public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services, and whereas public safety telecommunicators are the single vital link for our police officers, firefighters, and paramedics by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information, and ensuring their safety. And whereas public safety telecommunicators of the Caldwell County Emergency Communications Center have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatments of patients. Whereas each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during their performance of their job in the past year. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Caldwell County declare the week of April 13th through 19th, 2025 to be the National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in Caldwell County in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our city and citizens safe.
All right, so hearing the proclamation read for Public Safety Telecommunicators Week, do I hear a motion that we adopt that this evening?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the resolution as read by Becky.
All right, any other comment or discussion? I'm just full of comments.
I got a lot of, I was going to say, go ahead, because I got some things I want to say.
Well, I just want to say that I appreciate everything that you do, and we certainly saw that during Helene and all the things that went on there. But it's every day, and the compassion that we have through telecommunicators. I'm in emergency services. I'm on the other end of hearing that vital link that's provided when we call and we need something. But I also know that the public as a whole, when somebody's called, they've got a mother down, they've got a husband or a wife that is unconscious, and to hear that voice, to be able to start giving them some ideas of things to do, how to go all the way into CPR, is just reassuring, and I certainly appreciate everything that you folks do. And we've been in progress of trying to get you a new communication center built. We've known for a long time we need to do that. It's finally looking good that we're hoping to be able to get that accomplished. And going back to some of the government questions, for me, when we started talking about this a year and a half ago, I would have been out there with a shovel and broke ground, but we're still a year and a half talking about building this communication center because all the regulations that are put upon government and how it moves. And so, but I just want to say that I appreciate you and appreciate each and every one of you. I've known you for a long time, and I've got one of those voices that you hear on the radio sometimes and say, ooh, he's calling again. But I appreciate that you answer. So, Commissioner Potter.
Would you like to introduce what you have with you here?
Absolutely. This is Ryan Dula. He's a day shift supervisor. Mitchell Cook, he's one of our newest employees. And then Dawn Harden, she is a day shift telecommunicator, and she's actually our longest employee as of right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I listen to you guys quite often, and it's amazing what you guys are able to do. And I go back to what Chairman Church said regarding Helene. Just to be able to keep that mass chaos under control, y'all are the calm in the storm, per se. You know, it's interesting to see your ability in the really, really tragic circumstances. You know, major car wrecks. To Randy's point, a father, mother, friend, whoever's down, the compassion that you have, and Dawn, I don't know how you do it. I mean, her voice never changes. I don't care if it's the worst call possible. She stays calm the whole time, and that's so important.
We'd probably get worried.
Yeah.
If her voice changed, we'd probably all be worried.
That's right. It's interesting because you can tell when it's a bad call because you'll hear the elevation in the voices or whatever. But with Dawn's, it never moves, it never changes, and that's so critical in the time and important
Absolutely.
when it's an emergency like that. So thank you guys and thank the rest of your team and organization for all you do, because we're very blessed with some great telecommunicators here in this county.
Very much so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I believe these people deserve a hand.
So I'll call the question. All in favor of adopting this evening, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries unanimously. So thank you again.
Thank you, Becky.
Thank you, Becky. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Next, we have a resolution for conveyance of surplus property. And Chief Trevor Key with Emergency Services is here this evening. Chief Key, welcome.
Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. Emergency Services has two vehicles that were recently replaced with the vehicle replacement policy. With this being said, a lot of the local volunteer fire departments like to come and request these vehicles. We have two. We each have two resolutions. Both of these are, one's a 2015 Ford Expedition, the other one's a 2016 Ford Expedition. The Sawmills Volunteer Fire Department and the Yadkin Valley Volunteer Fire Department has requested these vehicles be surplused.
All right. So hearing the recommendation, do I hear a motion that we adopt the resolution as presented in declaring a 2015 Ford Expedition and a 2016 Ford Expedition in surplus and conveying that to Sawmills Volunteer Fire Department and Yadkin Valley?
Yadkin Valley, yes.
Yes. I'm moving too fast, so Yadkin Valley. Do I hear a motion that we adopt that resolutions, both of those resolutions this evening?
Mr. Chair, I move that we convey those surplus property items to Sawmills and Yadkin, and I recommend the motion to approve that.
All right.
Just to let everybody know, I think we have to sell it to them for $1 or something like that, don't we, do?
Yes.
I
and
mean,
then-
we could sell it on gov deals, but you don't get nothing out of it on there, so it'll help the community more by doing this than it will trying to sell it.
And the caveat to that also is we have first right of refusal if they determine that they don't need it at some point. They have to convey it back to us to sell, and/or we can say, no, go ahead. Because time they get through with it, there won't be much left, I promise. All right, so any other comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries. So thank you again, Chief Key. Next is
Thank you, Chief.
lease extension, and Jeff Caldwell's with us this evening, our Helene recovery specialist, debris removal / numerous other titles. So-
Numerous other titles.
Yes, sir.
Correct, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, Board of Commissioners, I'm glad to have the opportunity to stand in front of you tonight. And my sole purpose here is to request that y'all consider extending our lease for the warehouse. The warehouse has been a great tool. Many thanks to the economic development and Ashley and her staff when we found this building back. We had this building within 5 days after Helena. Before I go through, I just want to slightly go through some of the things that we've been able to accomplish by having this 90,000 square foot building. It started out as the donation center, and as you know, in any type of disaster, the American people is a very giving people. We've got everything at one time that you could ever possibly imagine. Now, some stuff, we probably didn't need, but it was our goal that if people took the time to donate, where it come from, other states, other communities, other counties, and in some cases other countries, we were going to do our best to accommodate them. I had one call me that had been turned down from several different counties. And they said, well, they just ain't got nowhere to put it, and we hear you have a large space. I said, well, when can you come? So we'll be here tonight. And we waited on the individual, and they ended up bringing some very good stuff and come in there about 10 o'clock at night. So we were very fortunate to have space. It's got 8 loading docks, so it just worked out really, really well. we were able to use it as a central receiving and distribution point. One of the things that because we did have so much space, we had easy access to 321, and we had loading docks to unload. So we was a regional area for a period of time because a lot of people just didn't have that. We accomplished numerous things, and this was ongoing. One of the things I guess I'm the most proud of is we tried to go to our citizens first. Had a lot of people call and say, well, can you give stuff? Can you give stuff? I said, let's let our citizens have the opportunity first. Now, for us to sit here and say that we was hit as hard as, say, an Avery, say an Ash, say a Watauga, say a Mitchell, say a Yancey, the answer is no. But we still had a lot of residents that was affected greatly, where it be home loss, where it be flooding, and goodness gracious, the key word of the night is debris, and we had a lot of that. So that was just one of the ways that we was able to use this facility to its absolute fullest. Just a couple of other things. Because we did have so much abundance of stuff, once the demand for the citizens started going down, the next place we reached out to was different areas of the county that we know things could be utilized. One of the things, we had a lot of cleansers. We had a lot of soap, cleansers, hygiene products, things of that nature. We reached out, animal care. They've got a lot of bleach from us. Social services, baby formula, diapers, things to that nature that we would just put back in the community. That was one of the things that we wanted to do very early on. Because we had such a large facility, and it was to a point climate controlled, it's certainly not air conditioned, but we didn't have to worry about things freezing. So we didn't have to get rid of it as quick. And a lot of people would ask me, said, Jeff, when you start getting rid of this stuff? I said, let's just hold off. And we held off until latter part of November, early December. December, January, and February, all these different agencies was come routinely needing and wanting stuff that could benefit not only the county but the community. Here's probably what I'm the most proud of all the different agencies that we supported. Bethel Colony, Caldwell County Student Government, or the Community College Student Government. So something that Dr. Ports reached out to us very early. Jeff, I've got a lot of students that are displaced. Can we get what all can we have? You can have anything that you want. We hauled numerous loads to the Caldwell campus, loads to the Watauga campus, and in a community college of our size, they have students from all range. We have students right out of high school. We have young adults. We have numerous students with kids, and with numerous students with single parents. And that was one of the best things that I thought we'd done. The community and schools. I can't tell you the loads of stuff that went out of that warehouse from the community schools program. One of the things I'm very proud of is some members of the Caldwell Beta Club contacted me and said, we do a diaper drive. Come and see me. Come and see us. We'll load you up. And that was, that goes back to the hardest hit part of the community, right, or the hardest hit part of the county. Very pleased with that. Numerous faith-based organizations. I can't thank Reverend Mickey Waters enough. One of the things we done very early on was a lot of these churches wanted to get back to normal way of doing business. When they first started, they took a lot of it off of us. They put it in their fellowship halls, their gymnasiums, their youth centers. Well, it was time to get back to normal business. So we loaded numerous truckloads, and we took it there, but they kept coming back. Took it to all areas in the county and a lot of in the surrounding counties. Of course, Smart Start, Yokefella, numerous trips back and forth, especially early on. They helped us, we helped them. One of the things I guess I'm one of the most proud of is, for whatever reason, a Duke Energy contractor found us during the height of the storm and called me and said, we got 2 tractor and trailer loads of institutionalized food, something that you'd feed mass victims with. We wasn't doing that in Caldwell County, thank goodness. Ended up making a couple calls, called their coordinator for, that represents Caldwell County for NCEM, Russell Green, who is a resident of, used to be a resident here, but from Caldwell County. And we donated all that to Avery County. So we took it up there in of course, in a U-Haul. And I don't know a whole lot about institutionalized food, but one of the first things they indicated, you're looking at about $50,000 worth of food. So just, very, very proud of that. We also helped organizations in Kentucky and West Virginia after us through additional floods or additional disasters that they had. One of the things that they wanted was clothes. We got a lot of clothes. Some are good. A lot of them are good, and if you ain't got nothing else, it's real good. But then, some people did clean out some closets. There's some leisure suits and, things of that nature in there, just like you're always going to get. But we had some organizations come and end up taking a lot of that off our hands. So we was very pleased with that. It's basically a 95,000 square foot warehouse. One of the things right now that we use it for is all the equipment that belongs to emergency services, we store it there. It's out of the weather, it's not in the rain, it's not in the sun. Sun's one of the most hardest things on there. If we are able, through the leadership of Mr. Rash, the leadership of the board, and we are able to continue this after August, we've got a great buy-in from the sheriff's office. Because, our future goal, if things are allowed and, funds are available, is just have a regional warehouse for all agencies in Caldwell County. Just something that I think would be very beneficial and would last us for the next 25 years. We've repaired ambulances during a couple small snowstorms we had. We chained ambulances there, works really well. We freed up space for the Cook building. That's our normal building that Caldwell County uses in facilities maintenance. Well, we've had a lot of projects go on in this county, over the last couple of years, and their space, they don't have as much space as they'd like. We even used it for a EMS backup when we done some paving at Hudson Base. Our number one goal was to stay central. We had to stay somewhere reasonably in the district to response. We looked at a couple different things, and then one of the individuals come up, so let's just go to the warehouse. It's a fully sprinkled building. It's certainly not going to delay in any type of response, and so we keep 2 crews at that base, and that worked out really well. So, Commission, I come to you asking that y'all consider keeping the lease through August. Now, the good caveat about this, there are 2 projects in with the Federal Emergency Management Agency that is projects on the board to be completely refunded for your offer with this. We currently have 16 projects in the FEMA portal. And I know the next thing on the agenda, and any time that you're dealing with the Federal Emergency Management Agency, they don't move as fast as county managers would like, I would like, finance officers would like, and also commissioners would like. It is an ongoing process. So, Commission, I offer you the opportunity, if you would, to extend our lease through August. Thank you. Any questions from me?
Yeah, anybody have any questions?
How much is the lease?
It's $25,000 a month. And that's a 90,000 square foot warehouse. Plus utilities, and utilities, Commissioner Potter, is minimal. We only had to run heat, not a couple times during our cold snaps.
Yeah.
We had to run some heat, but and the only reason we was running heat was to keep from the sprinkler system from freezing.
Remind me, I know it was in there, but remind me, is this reimbursable from now to August through FEMA?
That is correct, sir.
100% of it?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay.
We see any opportunity going past that time, Jeff?
Well, and that was something I talked to Mr. Rash about this, and of course I've talked to the finance officer. We could possibly lease, but a negative thing is how Ms. Bullock said, you know, that's his space.
Right.
You know, and y'all's number one goal, and I guess everybody's goal is to have manufacturing. That does bring economics to the county. But then also too, for a 90,000 square foot warehouse, and the price of it's $2.5 million, you certainly can't build anything anywhere close to that. And if we are fortunate enough to build the Joint Comm Center, multi-services, or emergency services building, that would be one of the first things that we could end up cutting, would be the ancillary building. The ancillary building, if we build it, it's 13,000 square feet. If we're fortunate enough to do that, and the price to that would be about $6 million. And that's only 13,000 square feet. So that's how much expense of things has gone up.
Right.
But that's something that hopefully we'll be able to have the opportunity to take to y'all at a further time. That's just the preliminaries. This, like I said, anybody's been involved. We have, you know, I've had a lot of communications with the sheriff, a lot of communications with animal control, and also other agencies. I think it's a win-win. I think it's definitely a win-win to extend it through August.
How big is the Cook building? Do you know? Does anybody know?
I'm gonna say about 35,000.
Okay.
Commissioner. Now, I'm not sure, because, you know, it's 3 parts.
Yeah.
It's about 3 different parts.
Yeah.
And if you've been over there, it's hit the revolving door.
Yes,
And one of the reasons it's revolving is because our maintenance staff has to collect all the electronics.
Yeah.
And that's done very routinely. And it can be almost full, and then, of course, if that goes away, and then 4 or 5 days later, it's back full again.
Yeah. A lot of electronics being recycled in Caldwell County.
A tremendous amount.
Which we do for free, by the way. Some counties charge for that.
Yep. And it's, you know, them guys, you know, they work for that, that's for sure.
Yes, sir. All right. So any other questions? And/or do I hear a motion that we extend the lease until August 31st of 2025?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we extend the lease on the space that we're using for Helene.
All right. Any other comments about it? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries unanimously.
Thank you,
So-
Commission. I invite any of you down anytime. I know Commissioner Starnes and a group that he was involved with sent 2 to 3 or 4 different loads of stuff down there during the latter part of that. So, ladies and
Yes, sir.
gentlemen, I appreciate it.
Thank you,
All right.
Jackie.
Thank you, Jeff. Next is an item for decision of a budget revision, and this is dealing with Hurricane Helene expenditures. And our interim manager, I'm going to throw that to you so you can describe to us a little bit what's going on. Is there anybody else we need to have up for that?
Tony, do you want to come up as well?
Oh, yeah.
Money man.
Money, 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 money.
Anything involving money,
Yes.
it's good to have Tony up here. So,
Welcome to our finance director.
yes.
Good evening. So, as you know, we've been in the debris cleanup business since Helene came through, and we've spent a lot of money. FEMA has given us a lot of money to do that with. We've gotten $3 million from FEMA. We've spent it, or most of it. And back a few months ago, the board approved a $2 million appropriation to continue that. We've used that $2 million up. So what this budget revision tonight would be is a $3 million addition to that. And the goal would be that FEMA would pay us back for all the effort and the work we do. It's going to be debris cleanup. I would defer to Mr. Caldwell if you got any questions about the FEMA process, or, you know, how we get that money back and when it'll arrive and all that.
You're not convincing me real good that we're gonna get it back, whether your tone or your voice.
I don't mean to cast doubt on it, it's just I'm not the expert on it. That's more of a Mr. Caldwell's area.
Commission, Mr. Chairman, again, it's a long-suffering process. I can rest assured that our recovery team, which is myself, Vic Meisenheimer, Trevor Key, a lady that we've hired, Suzette Bradshaw, and Mike Cook, we deal with this every day, literally every day, sometimes Saturday and Sunday. We're not the only, and that don't make it no easier on us. I'm not by no means shedding light that this is not important. Cash flow is important for us for all kind of reasons. There's no, I don't have any deep concern that we're not going to get reimbursed 100%. It's just, it's a long suffering process. If there's anything, you say, well, what can y'all do? It's sometimes the voices that come from elected officials is louder than our voice. So reach out to the Congress people and say, let's turn the money loose quicker. Also, the same on the local end or on the North Carolina end. Right now, state of North Carolina, there's over $400,000 that is our money that has come down from FEMA that is sitting in coffers down there. That's been in coffers now for about 6 weeks. We've sent numerous correspondence to them wanting to release the money to us. So unfortunately, at times, it is a challenging, difficult process. And we all are deeply concerned about it and have routine conversations about it. If y'all remember, the same thing happened during COVID. For the first 3 to 4 months, we was behind. And then once everybody got it figured out, then we ended up getting about $1.5 million. It's just a long-suffering process. Now, the amount of money we spent during COVID versus the amount of money we got to spend now, as you know, gentlemen, is not a drop in the bucket. It's just a long process. And for us to continue to do, which y'all have allowed really good work. For instance, the right-of-way. The right-of-way of debris will end April 30th. Now, we may have to extend it some because there's still going to be piles of debris out here. Okay, something else that y'all allowed, or we recommended to y'all to allow, PPDR, Personal Property Debris Removal Program. That's something Commissioner Church had mentioned to the lady just a little bit ago. Every county in western North Carolina is not doing that. Today we had our weekly debris meeting, and we are ahead of the game on that. We have applied for extended money, expedited money. Well, there's another program. Myself and Vic's going down and meet with the state of North Carolina on Wednesday to get a pay-as-you-go program. It's something they just started. Matter of fact, we could be the first county to actually do that. So there's a lot of people working hard to get it. But now for us to sit up here, and I know as y'all, like Tony is responsible for the money and responsible to manage our money in this county, the best y'all see fit. But yeah, but it is a long-suffering program. There's one more thing I want to give y'all the opportunity and say that I think we've done good work, and I think a lot of us is. Y'all are going to allow stream debris. I know Commissioner Starnes was deep involved in that, and we made the decision to go with the Army Corps of Engineers. It's going to take longer, but we're not going to have to foot any bill for that. And the estimated cost for that, for the 7 streams that we identified, that's not all the streams, that was $25 million. That's a chunk of money. And after a lot of research, talking to a lot of people, digging real deep, we made the decision to go with the Army Corps. So That's the best explanation that I can give you. I wish I could come up here and say, man, we're getting every project that we turn in, that we're getting money rapidly. There's 16 projects on there with FEMA. We've got rewarded 2 of them. One I'm very proud of, and that's the flood sirens up in Wilson's Creek. That was totally redone because it's totally destroyed. But in the grand scheme of things, that was only $183,000. But we've already been obligated for that money, but it's in the state of but it's in the coffers of the state of North Carolina. We've also got an equipment grant that it's $188,000 of all the generators, of all the other equipment that we used during the height of FEMA. And that's been approved now for 6 or 7 weeks. Like I had mentioned earlier, that's in coffers down there. So if they had ever turned that loose, that's $400,000 at least in here that we can do stuff with. I will entertain any questions and do my best between myself, Trevor, and Vic and Tony and answer.
But it sounds like we've already put, what, $4 or $5 million in this, and we need another $3 million this far into the game. That
So I don't
seems
think
a little steep to me.
We've done $2 million on, little over $2 million on the first round. And we've got, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, Tony, but my understanding, we've got about $1 million encumbered, meaning we owe that right now, but we've got to move this money in the line items to be able to pay those. However, we've already got some money in the coffers to assist with that.
Yeah, we got $3 million from FEMA. The budget was approved for a little over $2 million, so I have to stop spending when I run out of budget. Even if I've got the money in the bank, I can't spend it until you guys.
Until we appropriate the money.
So there's some money there that we can spend that we've already got, but now it's gonna go beyond that quickly, though. I just think it's one thing just to reassure you about, the county is in good shape. We can float this for a while if we need to, and it won't impinge our cash flow. Now, it's very important we get reimbursed eventually.
But we got budget coming up too. Are we going, it's hard to count on budget money when you ain't got it.
Well, I don't think, if you're waiting 6 months or even a year to get reimbursed for this, I don't think that's going to have a much of a negative impact on our cash flow at all. Now, if you don't ever get it back, then obviously that's a big deal. But just floating it for a while, it's not. I would just defer to Jeff on feeling good about that it is coming back. I didn't hear you say anything about you were afraid it wouldn't come back, just that it would take a while.
No, not at all, really.
Right.
It's just that and guys, trust me, because most of you know me very well, and they know the team very well. We was on a conference call. I was off last week, but I was in Greenville, and then we was on a Zoom call. Tony was on that, and I'll assure you, our team is as stressed as y'all are, and we're as concerned about cash flow as much as y'all are. And a matter of fact, there's a period of time that I was probably even more than everybody above, because, as you know, this is what I've done for a long period of time, and I certainly want it to work as much as anyone.
Well, I feel good about having you there leading the way. That makes a big difference and makes me feel a little better about it.
I don't know about leading, it's just a good team.
Well, you understand the process and all the FEMA world, How much of this $3 million have we already obligated?
I can't give you an exact number,
Roughly.
but probably, $500,000, maybe more than that.
Okay.
I've got
But
two
you got $1
invoices.
million to pay the hat that's what's obligated. We're only really going to be looking at potentially spending $2 million, because you've already got $1 million, right?
That's probably true.
Rough numbers,
I've got
yeah.
2 invoices on my desk upstairs that I'm holding.
Okay.
And I know Suzette has several more. I don't know how much they total, but
Okay.
but yeah, this debris cost adds up quick. If you've seen how much stuff they've moved, and
I was going to ask that. Anybody got a number on cubic yardage of what we've moved?
Giving it to us.
My biggest, I guess, one of my biggest issues about this whole debris thing has been Jeff ran it, and I ran into this early on, and Jeff and I had a long discussion about it, is we had stuff that wasn't storm related, and it's really hard to determine what is and what ain't. We had some people that I think, which is typical, people taking advantage of the situation, which we don't know, we'll never know what that was or how much that costed us, or how much it may cost us going forward. So that's the, and I get it and I understand it. I don't like it, but I understand it.
And we still got people today trimming trees,
That's what I was
moving
gonna
it
say,
to
yeah.
the shoulders of the road.
And we still got people, gentleman up here in front of Ingles, he's got those big Leland, root balls laying out there in his yard that I think we're gonna think he's applied or just talked about applying to get that picked up. So there is a need that's still there.
Well, and at the end of the month, right of way ends.
Right.
So that's an expenditure that will go down drastically.
Yeah.
All right, now PPDR, personal property to be removal, I anticipate it probably going through June.
And that's gonna be more expensive because that's bigger, heavier
No,
stuff.
that's gonna be much less expensive.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's, I ain't gonna say much,
Yeah.
I mean, but it's probably $2 to $3 to $4 million cheaper.
Well, you know, I went out there and applied for that, never got a phone call back from nobody.
If you applied, you're in.
Never heard nothing from nobody.
Well, and we discussed that today, Commissioner Branch, and that was one of the problems, because the company that we hired is actually doing it. And we've not turned down any. Now, there's a couple we're gonna look at that's gonna be a timbering operation. We're not doing timbering operations.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And, but the majority of it that applied, and that's something that we're gonna do our best to rectify, that the person that works for Debris Tech pick up the phone, call Jeff Branch and say, yeah, you was approved, you're in the list, you're on the queue.
Well, I went out there to the health department and they give me the people out there at FEMA give me a list and had a phone number to call to get onto that. I never got a phone call back from it.
I'll check and see if you applied. If not, you need to.
Well, I didn't apply because they give me a number to call and I never got nobody to call me back.
Nobody ever answered, called him back, is what he's saying.
Yeah, that don't work. I'll address that tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Go on, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions? So, I'll make the motion that we allocate this money in an effort to be able to continue our debris removal and task you gentlemen, which I know you are diligently, but with recouping our funds in the expedited manner, we'd like to get the money before we spend it, as we did a couple times already. But and I will say that Mr. Rash and I had a meeting this past week with our governor's western representative and pushed the issue with her quite a bit as well, and she's carrying that banner back to the governor's office, and of course we're going back through the speaker's office, so we're pushing to keep our money flowing.
Push hard.
And but it is a monumental task. Did somebody come up with that number, what we've moved so far?
I did not log into my
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
One time I heard we were going to be moving enough to fill up the Panthers stadium.
Yeah.
I just got in, if you could do me just.
So,
I know I saw Barry over there at the old landfill with a mountain of mulch. He was driving a machine up there on it. I mean, it had to be 70 feet tall. I was afraid he was going to fall off of it or something.
Well, and that is a couple of wins because of that first ground mulch. We're able to redo a lot of the stuff over at the old landfill that had washed.
Yeah.
So that's not costing us nothing.
Right.
Are they burning down there at Granite too?
No, they stopped that yet.
I've had some people call me about it. That didn't go good, did
It's
it?
all grinding now.
Sawmills they were burning, yeah.
Mhm.
They quit though.
She'll this to you, each of you. I think when it's all said and done, I think the initial estimate on right-of-way was gonna be somewhere around 8 to 9 million. I think that's probably what it's gonna end up being.
Cubic yards?
No.
Or money?
Money.
Oh, okay.
Cubic yards is probably gonna be more than that.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So, and when this ends for our part on the right-of-way, when we say that that's over, then we're gonna kick that over to DOT?
Yes, sir.
And they will be
Yeah.
continuing on if they need to do any right-of-way removal and these snags. And I think we had a lady here tonight mentioning about the overhangs of trees and all that. I mean, they're identifying that
When y'all had
stuff.
moved to another part, I discussed that with that lady and told her the right procedure to go through, because I think that's gonna be more of a PPDR than it's gonna be a hanging
I got
issue.
you. Yes, sir. All right, so, and I guess as a public announcement here again, if you've got an issue or a question, reach out to our staff, because they've been working with it, and they know quite a bit about what's going to be eligible in all of this, and we're getting toward the end, because thankfully, we're getting to the end here. A lot of people, or a lot of our neighbors in western North Carolina have got a long way to go. And we jumped out really quick and done a really great job. And I'm thankful that we're getting to the end here, marking in April and May for the right-of-way stuff. And so, but we appreciate all the effort in that. So any other comment or question?
I'm just going to say one quick thing. Dry Ponds Road, if you're coming from
Granite.
321 from Granite on Dry Ponds Road, right as you go past the apartments that are on the left, there's a huge pile right there that I don't know where it came from, but it's a bunch of Lelands that had fallen, and they've cut it up and piled it up, but eventually it's going to roll out in the road because it's a big pile.
Anytime y'all see stuff, guys, let me know.
Okay, I'll shoot you a text.
Because Commissioner Starnes, he's called me several times on things that need to be addressed.
I'll shoot you a text. Thank you.
If they're not addressed quick enough, call me back.
I will.
Yeah. And we've got staff looking. We've asked that the sheriff's office do it, ambulance services do it, power companies doing it. So we've got a lot of folks trying to, DOT helping notify us of that. So, but another public announcement, if you see it, call somebody and let us know. We got 87,000 sets of eyes in Caldwell County. You see a lot. And if you'll just call and let us know, we'll try to get to it. All right, with that, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries as well. So thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
And next is our items for decision is amendment to our racetrack ordinance this evening. And I'm going to kick that to our interim manager, Mr. Wayne Rash, to give us a little background on what we're looking at there.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, you have in front of you requested amendments to the Caldwell County ordinance limiting times and operations at racetracks and drag strips. This is requested by the folks, the management at Tri-County Speedway. And basically, I'll just summarize the changes they're asking for. And what they're asking for, current ordinance says from March until, I believe it's the first weekend of November. They're asking to extend that to include the month of February and then to go to the first 15 days of November. So I would add a month at the beginning, add about a week or so at the end of the time in which the racetrack could operate. The other differences are currently, I think they're permitted to race 2 days a week, one from 12 p.m. to 9 p.m. The other currently says 12 p.m. and 11 p.m. And they're asking to change that to 10 a.m., start at 10 a.m. instead of 12 p.m. Still would end by 11 p.m. as it currently is. And then the final change that they're asking is this portion about the test and tune events. And I'll just read that to you. The owner and operator of any racetrack, raceway, racetrack, or drag strips may schedule and operate test and tune events on weekdays Monday through Thursday between the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. in each calendar month that the operation is allowed. Test and tune events mean that a race team may bring a car to the track, running laps, adjusting settings on the car, and then running more laps with no racing, no crowd, and no money taken at the gate. So that is the request of the folks at Tri-County Speedway. I think there are folks here from the Speedway to answer any questions if the board has any about that.
All right. And hearing those recommendations, I know we've had quite a bit of public comment here this evening in reference to all this, and I just wanted to say it's not allowing any more racing weekends. I think there's been a misconception of that, and some people have thought that we're going to allow racing 6 days a week from the months of February till November, And that is not what we're allowing to take place. It won't be races, and the race weekends will still be as they have been and limited by the ordinance. So I just wanted to make that clarification. And basically, as our interim manager has read out, what we're adding is a month in the month of February, and then the test and tune events on Monday through Thursday. So with all of that, anybody got any comments, or do I hear a motion that we adopt the amendments to the ordinance?
So on the month of February, does it specifically say they can't race in February?
No.
So it does open up, if they wanted to race, they could race in
2
February.
weekends in the month of February. Yeah.
So here's my position on this. I've been dealing with this racetrack and the Higgins family since they bought that track. And to Mr. Brown's point, they are some great folks. And I'm very pleased with them bringing that track back. I think they've done a great job with it. I've supported that track from day one. I think that, my goal as a county commissioner is to, in this particular situation, is to find balance. Is to find that, somebody spoke earlier, the compromise and the happy medium. When you go back and look at when they bought the track, what the ordinance said then, they were very restricted. They were very limited in what they could do. And they did need more time, more opportunity to operate the business. And I feel like that, we've extended it a month on the beginning of the season. We extended it a month at the end of the season. We did a lot of things to kind of ease that along to find that happy medium. And I feel like we had pretty good balance at the time. Like last year specifically, I think there was good balance there. We had, am I open to maybe some more movement and some more? I am. But I think that if we approve this ordinance the way it's written today, I think we lose the balance. I think we go over the happy medium. These guys have done an incredible job. Something I didn't really think about until I think it was Mike over here mentioned earlier, that they've done such a good job that now it has created a little bit more of a problem than we had in the beginning. The success of that track has been tremendous. I've been out there numerous times. I like it. It's fun. I'm a race fan. I like what they're doing. I like the guys. But I go back to our meeting last year. Can't remember exactly whether it was June or July when they came to us and asked for a test and tune. And one of the things that, and I was fine with it, they want to test and tune on Monday, Tuesdays. That's what they asked for. That was specifically what they asked for. And I asked, they talked about a barrier. And they agreed at that time to put up a barrier. And the reason they wanted the testing tune before the barrier was put up was so they could earn, make the money, because I'm sure it's pretty expensive. I know it's expensive. But they wanted the opportunity to test and tune, to bring in the teams, to make the money, to be able to afford to put the barriers up. And I know they had roughly $16,000 left over out of the grant money that they got from the state, in that ballpark, $16,000. They admitted that night last year. And they committed in a public meeting to put the barriers up. And they put the poles up. And I've talked to Shad a few times, one of the owners, from the fall, and they were working on it. They're going to get it done. They're going to get it done. Just recently, he told me that the holdup is the gentleman who's putting them up is doing it pro bono, is doing it for free. And he doesn't want to give up his paid work, which I understand, to do free work. Completely get it, understand it. But I don't really understand, if you had test and tune and you were making the fees, that was the money that goes towards putting it up, but now it's being done for free. As of today, the barrier's still not up. And I just, the folks have keep coming to us, and we keep giving. I think we've done a lot for them from where they started to where they are today. And I just can't support the way it's written right now. Am I willing to give it a little bit more? Absolutely. I'm willing to work to try to find a happy medium. But I'm not willing to support the way it's written tonight and what's been presented to us. So I'm going, and primarily because they have not put the barriers up. That's my issue. They committed to it in a public meeting, standing right there, they would do it, and it hadn't been done. And they've had since, I don't know, July, August, September, till now, to do it. So that's where I'm at on it. I mean, I like the guys. I like the track. I love what they're doing. They've done a wonderful job out there. And in fact, they've almost done to the point where it is what's causing the problem. There is more cars on the track. It is louder. And I think as a county commissioner, when we get complaints, we have to find a way, we have to listen to both sides of the issue. We can't just lean towards one side and not listen to the other side. And in this case, I think this is a tough one. The only other situation I've been in like this since I've been a county commissioner was Dollar General in Kings Creek. Half the crowd wanted Dollar General, half of them didn't. It's like, what do you do? So here, you have a lot of people who are big race fans, want to see that track survive and be successful. And I think they have been successful with what we've given them already. And again, I'm willing to give some more. I'm just not willing to go to the extreme they got right now, the way it's written. That's where I'm at.
All right.
Mr. Chair, I have a clarification question for our interim manager. It says on the notes here, it says first reading. What does that mean? Can you explain?
I'll answer that better. Because of the decriminalization law that went into effect back in, I think it was June of 2021, any ordinance that has anything that is criminalized, so if there's a penalty of $500 or a misdemeanor that's in the ordinance, it has to go through 2 readings before the board. So that is why it's presented to you, because that provision is in that ordinance.
And so we're voting on it twice?
Yes, there's a first reading with a vote, and then there's also a second reading that has a vote as well.
Okay, if one vote goes one way and another vote goes another way, can the ordinance be modified before it gets to the second reading?
That would have to be a question for the county attorney.
All right. I will.
Attorney?
So, of course, putting me on the spot, I would suspect it has to be identical for both readings.
Gotcha.
I cannot say that for 100% sure, but I can't imagine the intent of the legislature was to let you fail it the first time, change it, and pass it on one reading the second time. That would kind of defeat the intent of what they were trying to do, would be my guess. That's my qualifying language there at the end. But I suspect it has to be the identical version that you passed
2
twice.
times.
Yeah, that would be
So
my
if
guess.
if it went one way and then you modified it and it'd have to be read twice again identically?
That would, I'm pretty confident
That's-
that's what that would.
that's fair
I'll
enough.
say with 84%.
Oh, 84, okay.
But where'd you come at?
What would give you 85%?
I'd have to do a little research on that to get me all the way up to 85%.
Well, I'd like to make a comment. I have to be honest with you. I've been to a couple of races in my lifetime. I went to Tri-County last year for the first time, and I have to say I've been a naysayer. It is what it is. I'm transparent, I'm honest, but Shad and Crate invited me out. I paid my way in and I paid for my own food, but I got an awesome golf cart ride, and I got to meet all the drivers. I got to see a lot of the facility, and the hamburgers are great, by the way.
They are good.
Cheeseburgers, yeah. And I enjoyed my time. I really did. I've been on the board for a while where I've seen, this is the 3rd ownership. The first 2, this one, class act, and they're doing it right. And I'll go back to what Commissioner Potter said. We've got to have a balance. We've got to have a balance. And when the community and a business get out of balance, that's where I have to make my decision and make my opinion. Now, I still may be on the opposite side of what this board decides, but I'm willing to look at tweaking some of this. We allowed some test and tune last year, and I thought that was okay, and I was willing to do that. In fact, I've been on the positive side of a lot of these changes because I feel that it was too restrictive. And who could go out there and make a living? Who could go out there and make a business thrive? I was told this past weekend, and I might be wrong, had some 80-some cars out there. And so the business is thriving. I get that. I want to see that. The stands when I went out there, the stands were full. People were having a great time. People bringing their kids out there. There was no wildness or anything. There's no alcohol sold out there. I mean, I can't say what people have in the parking lots and stuff like that, but you know, it's a very well-run operation, and I was treated very, very, very nicely, and I enjoyed it. I can't tell you that I didn't, but as the way this is written, I cannot support that because of the imbalance that will become of between the community and the business. And I hope, you know, we can work through that. If not, and the motion and the ordinance passes, okay, we'll live with it. But that's just my humble opinion. I support. They've changed me from a naysayer to a believer, and I'm yeah. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else?
Could I get Craig? Is it Craig? Could you come up here at the speaker a minute?
I'm going to ask you to state your name, Creighton,
Yeah.
what your role in all of this is, so it's a matter of record. So,
My name's Ronnie Payne. Everybody calls me Crate, and I learned from the last meeting here. Now I wear shorts year round, but y'all froze me to death last time I was here.
That's to keep you awake.
I want to know, when is the barrier going to be done? I mean, it's been, we did last year, they did say the barrier was going to be up. I want a time on when it's going to be up before I make my decision on this vote.
I've listened to you guys talk tonight and numerous other people talking about delays, having to get things done. The two different people that we need involved in this is electricians with a bucket truck and tree trimmers with bucket trucks.
that's hard to get. It's a tree trimmer.
Right now, it's been terrible hard to get. And I know Shad might have told you he had somebody doing it for free.
He did.
But I've been on a phone call, and I don't know how many people to come. 3 of them just out and out lied to me. But I don't know anybody down here. The only people I know is 85 miles from here.
Well,
I got one that swore to me he'll be here Saturday. Now, whether he comes or not, I ain't gonna sit here and guarantee it, because I've had a bunch of them lie to me. And I spend, yeah, them guys own it, but they own a tire store, they own a towing business. They need something to do in their spare time, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I end up taking care of a lot of this stuff for them, but I'm telling you, I wore the phones out because Mr. Potter, I wasn't gonna give you another opportunity to grandstand on me tonight, you know?
Yeah.
So I've been working hard, real hard, trying to get this took care of. And I've struck out. But now, again, after being here tonight and hearing some of these other people with some of the delays and stuff that's going on, I don't feel too bad about it now. I mean, I feel bad about it because we said we'd do it. But that's one thing I want to bring up too. Everything we've ever promised you guys we'll do, we have done it. Except for getting this sound barrier up. It's going to go up, but we failed getting it up when we wanted to get it done.
Well, I think you guys have done a tremendous job, and I think you, if you would agree that we've given y'all quite a bit already. And again, me personally, I'm okay with maybe giving a little bit more, but I'm not willing to do it until we see those barriers go up. That's just where I'm at. And I know you guys y'all done a lot for the community. I mean, y'all are awesome. You really are. You've been awesome for the community. You've been awesome for the county. The issue to me is, we talk about being good neighbors, right? We talk about wanting to be good neighbors. If you're trying to be a good neighbor, then you got to try to listen to some of these folks and their concerns. We don't, we hadn't heard a whole lot from me and Jeff were talking earlier. Majority of the people that we hear from are the people who are in support of giving you more, right? We don't hear a lot from the people who are living in the community. But I think there's a lot more that are kind of where these people are than I think you guys realize. I'm not sure that you really know how they feel. Some of the people right there near you maybe, but I don't know that y'all really understand the impact that is down the road from you. So
I'm a little confused when I hear some of them talking about how loud it is and they're not able to watch TV, they can't hear what's going on.
Yeah.
We have already done some decibel readings. On Connolly Springs Road, Saturday, you couldn't even hear the race cars over during practice because somebody was mowing their yard.
Well, I know that last year I stood on Miss Bollinger's porch on a Friday, and I went door to door. And I talked to a lot of people that supports that track, but I talked to a few people that were like, you know what, I'm okay with it. I don't really like it, but I'm okay with it. But I can tell you that we had to go in the house because we couldn't hear each other talking. Now, the weird thing was, I talked to the lady, I can't remember, she just passed away, actually.
And I don't remember her name, but I know you're talking about,
yeah.
No, this is on Hickory.
She's behind the track over there, kind of behind it to the left. I can't think of her name. Anyway, I talked to her, and we were standing on her porch, and she's right there on the track.
Hardly.
You could hardly hear them. You could hardly hear the cars. So I can hear them sometimes from my house, and there's other times I can't hear them. Like, I can't hear them at all sometimes. It's just, I guess, the way the wind blows and the way where your house is, and I don't understand it. It's way above my head. But I'm a big supporter of y'all's, man. I really do. I want to help you. I want to give you more. But I'm just not in a position tonight where I can give you everything you're asking until those barriers go up.
I think one of the things that and we tried to work through it because so many people say, well, you know what the rules were when you got it. Yeah, we did. We're just trying to operate a business, and we go through 4 months of not bringing any revenue in whatsoever. We've still got lot bills. We've still got taxes. We've still got bills to pay just like everybody else does. We're just trying to recoup some of that just to break even during those months. But again, what we're asking for is really no more than what you guys have already given us, except for the extended 2 hours on Saturday morning. Let us start at 10 o'clock instead of starting at noon.
Well, no, you could test, the way it's written right now, unless I misunderstood it, you could test and tune every single Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday if you wanted to. You could. Now, are you going to? Probably not, because you ain't going to have that many people coming, right?
No, but
you could.
The good problem we have is now word's got out about how great Tri-County Speedway is. What a great track it is to test on. It's why we get the phone calls from Joe Gibbs Racing. It's why we get the phone calls from Hoosier to come and do tire tests. It's why we get the phone calls from Venturini.
Yeah.
These professional race teams out of Mooresville. That's why the hours that we asked for, 10 a.m., 4 p.m. Those guys are going to be back in Mooresville at 5 o'clock.
Do you think any of your success is due to the changes we've made in the ordinance since you took that track over?
Well, obviously it has, because of the fact that they're allowed to come and see for themselves. You're not going to get these teams to come test on Saturdays.
Right. No, I get it. They ain't going to come on Saturdays.
No. I mean, you know, Friday and Saturday would continue to be for our local racers. The Monday through Thursday deal is being able to attract these professional race teams that want to come during that time. And again, it's a good problem to have, I guess, because Tri-County has been successful in the things that we've been allowed to do and what we've been able to do to the racetrack. But I told Wayne when he was first getting his feet wet, I said, you know, this is going to snowball because we're going to continue to have, as word spreads around, we're going to have more requests. That's not saying it's every day. It's giving us that option. So when Joe Gibbs calls and says, I'd like to come test on Wednesday, and I don't have to say, well, I can't test on Wednesday. I can test on Monday and Tuesday, but let me call him and see. That's...
Yeah, and that's part of kind of maybe some of the flexibility I'm willing to give is to have that discussion and to talk through some of that. I think there's a little bit more there. I just don't know. I'm just not ready to go to where it's at tonight.
What did you think if we just put an amendment on this, that he puts the barriers up in 3 months, or it goes back to the way it is now? They got 3 months. I mean, you can do anything in 3 months. Put the barriers up.
Well, I don't know. They've been working on it since last summer. They ain't got them up
I
yet.
got you put your feet to the fire.
I agree.
Again, I'd like to sit here and swear to you it's going to happen Saturday.
Yeah.
But
you would like for it to happen Saturday.
Yeah.
I know you would. I know, and I believe that.
I didn't want to give you the opportunity again.
I got it.
Yeah.
I got it.
I mean, would that make you feel better?
Yeah. I mean, I just want the barriers up. I mean, they promised them. I think it's fair to the community that we put them up.
Well, again, we've never done anything.
Nope, you
that-
haven't.
I mean, we followed through with
I know that.
everything we ever told y'all we'd do. And this won't be, there's not going to be any shortage here. We're going to get it done.
Yeah.
We can't work off a stepladder and fix this one.
No,
Like
you
we
can't
do
do
normally,
it.
everything else down there, we do ourselves.
So I wrote out today, you can't reach it on a step ladder.
We got to have help on this.
How
And
tall
that's
those
the only
poles?
reason
You've
it's not
already
been
got
done.
the poles set. How
He got
tall
the
are
poles
they?
set.
Yeah, 80 feet tall?
Yeah, that guy came and did his part and said he was going to come back and help us finish it. And it's been crickets.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get North Catawba Fire Department, go over there
They
with
got
the
that
ladder
ladder
truck.
truck.
Yeah.
Have you got me a phone number? Have you got me a phone number?
Yeah. Now, we got some tree folks, if y'all knew, I mean, we all know tree people here in the county that we can put you in contact with. There's numerous companies here that, you know, that we all know personally that can help you with that.
If I don't have no luck come Saturday, I'm calling you.
Please do. Listen, you do understand I'm not against you. I hope you know that.
And I want the public to understand too, the way the ordinance is right now, we could race every Saturday night. We don't do that.
Yeah.
We want to be good members of the community. We want to be good to our neighbors. We're not racing again. It's on the schedule. We're not racing again on May the 10th. That's our next race.
Yep.
So we've had 2 so far this year, and the way the ordinance is right now, we could have started racing 1st of March.
Yep.
We've
I
had
saw
2
that.
races. We're not going to be here. I know I had requested that we do this test and be allowed to do the testing in November and December, January, because that's when the teams call. They did last year, wanting to come test before they go to Florida for Speed Weeks in February. So many teams are coming. But we're not going to be there Thanksgiving Day. I promise you. We ain't going to be there Christmas,
Right.
and we ain't going to be there on Sunday because we don't want to be. I mean, I made my 4th trip down the mountain since Friday today.
Yeah. Folks in the community, are you guys, are you guys open to the barrier and seeing that put up?
All that's been discussed is how often, how wonderful. That's not what we're arguing.
Yeah.
Our biggest complaint is noise.
Right.
The barriers were supposed to go up last year, or that was what was proposed at the meeting last year.
And we understand, y'all do understand where the barriers are there. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, that's turn 1 and 2, correct?
That's
It's
correct.
not out front, it's
Right.
turn 1 and 2.
Right.
Okay.
about out front?
But that's our only complaint,
Yeah.
is the
That's not
sound.
our only, but
I don't care if you run 24/7.
I got it, we
As
got it.
long as we can't.
We got it.
I do.
every day.
Monday through
It's not
Thursday.
gonna be every day.
Got it.
Monday
not
through
gonna be
Thursday.
every
We got it, okay, we're good. I got it, sorry, I didn't mean to.
You opened the door.
Yeah, I did. But I want to hear from them, okay? They live there.
Right.
And I'm going to always be transparent. These people live there, okay? You don't live there. They do.
So I would like to, come to my house when you're racing May 10th and listen, bring your decibels and you can hear. 1, 2, I work in construction I know everybody in construction around this area because of what I do in my current job. I can get you tree guys, I can get you whoever you need. I can pick up the phone and call them. Our next door neighbor runs a tree company, it's Mitch's Tree Company.
Yep, that's who I was
There's
thinking.
people in this community, so that, to me, that's an excuse because Mitch has been doing work for me. So let us help you.
I
We'll
don't
help
live
you.
here, I don't know
Yeah.
anybody here.
Call us and let's help, and then come and bring your decibel meter and listen to what we're hearing. I would recommend to the board that we postpone this for 30 to 60 days until a decision's made to allow them to get this put, to place up their sound barrier.
And don't extend that time until that's done.
We're losing money. My question there, if we do the sound barrier as we discussed doing it, and then people are not happy, then what we do with the
We ain't
money
gonna-
that?
You ain't gonna make nobody all of them happy,
Okay.
okay? We know that.
I knew that, but I'm
No,
just.
we know that. No, I mean, like I told you, I get more calls in support of you than I do against you. And these people tonight, I can just tell you this, I've not met one person yet that's against you. They like it, they love you being there, they all rave about how great y'all done.
You need to get on Facebook then.
They're just, well, some of them did get a little, to Mr. Brown's point, they did get a little crazy, but, the majority of people that I've talked to have never said anything negative about you guys, on a personal note, you know. I think your intentions are good, absolutely, and I want to try to help you get there, Craig, I do.
Well, again, I mean, with the ordinance the way it is right now, I just want the non-race fans here to understand, we could race a whole lot more.
I know you could.
But we choose to be good neighbors.
We'll work on it.
All right, so what have we reached a consensus?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the racetrack ordinance with an amendment on it, and within 3 months, if he does not have the sound barriers up, it goes back to this original agreement.
All right.
Can I do that?
You could potentially do that, but you need to come up with a heck of a lot more specific language on that. This is going to be a written ordinance.
Okay.
As to what I could come up with right now, I mean, because of the situation with me covering for Destin, and I haven't even seen the actual, I've got one piece of paper, amendments to the Caldwell County ordinance limiting times of operation of racetracks and drag strips. And I've got the section 3A test and tune events permitted. I don't even know what the original, other than what I've been told here, I didn't even know what the original ordinance looked like, so.
Not what we're doing now.
I understand, but in terms of what the amendments were and saying it's going to go back to what it was before, I don't know exactly what it was, what it currently is.
Right.
I only have this proposed amendment that we drafted for y'all.
Could we, how do I say this? Could we,
Well, it sounds pretty simple. It goes
could we
back
put
to
it
the
off
original
to, could we
agreement.
put it off to make this first reading, to give them time to put it up? Could we put it off for till, what would that be, May, June, July's meeting, or we may not have to go that far?
On the first and second reading, I'm not sure what the time period has to be between the first and second reading.
Oh, yeah, I don't know either.
To my knowledge, there's not a time period. It just has to be at 2 separate meetings.
Okay. Well, I mean, what you could do is, you could vote on it at this reading, and if it passes, you could set the next reading for your May meeting, and if the barriers aren't up, you could table the second reading to June, and if the barriers aren't up, table the second reading to July. I think you could probably do that. So that kind of if that's what you want to do. I mean, you can also have your pass or fail the first reading tonight, and if it passes, consider it in May, whatever you want to do. Obviously, it's going to take the 2 meetings to pass it, so that gives you some amount of control if you want to assert that kind of control over making sure the barriers are up before you pass it. So that would save coming up with, I understand what you're trying to do with the language, but that makes it real messy because, you got to think about in terms of these ordinances being in place forever. and saying that it's going to automatically repeal in 3 months, I'm not sure you can do that.
Why, you're the lawyer, you can draw anything.
I'm gonna
That's why we pay
say,
you
I'm
big
gonna say,
bucks up
I'm
there,
gonna say
you know?
with 71% confidence, you can't do that.
Should I address one thing?
Yes, sir, Craig.
That way in May, if we haven't done what's been asked of us, then we can't say nothing. If you guys decide to move along with it, again, then in May, it either floats or it dies. Again, racing season is in the summer months. I hate to see it keep getting pushed back. Again, if we're not able to get done and I'm telling you, if I have to call the fire department to get up there on it,
I can appreciate that.
whatever we got to do.
Yeah.
I mean, so I mean that would.
Yeah.
And so, let me be clear, of course, even if you pass it tonight, it is not the law.
That's right.
Because you
Correct.
have to
Still
do
got that
second
second
reading.
reading.
So,
Gotta go to
I
the
mean,
second
even
reading.
if all 5 of you are like, absolutely, we don't care about the neighbors, we want them to be able to do this right away, it wouldn't be the law until you have your second reading
point.
anyway.
Exactly,
Good
yeah.
point.
So,
Yeah. So,
Okay.
we'll entertain a motion if that's what you'd like to do, Commissioner Branch, to adopt it.
I'll make a motion, we adopt it. But we can always go back and change it.
Well, and we've got
Yeah.
to go through the second reading.
Yep.
So that gives them a
Second
month.
reading's gonna give us that chance,
Yeah.
the way I understand it.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right. So, any other comment or discussion?
Mr. Chair, I appreciate the dialogue and everything, but I'm still in a situation where the hours of the test and tune, I mean, to me, it's more than just the sound barrier. It's the operation Monday through Thursday. I'm willing to compromise on that because that's what we did last year with a couple of days a week. And then starting in February, and I'm willing to change there. But again, I know there's a motion on the floor, but in its current form, even with the sound barrier, I just can't get there because, again, the balance between the community and the business.
Yes, sir.
And I will say, I'm not there either. My intentions is to vote against this tonight.
Yep.
To give them the opportunity to see what they're gonna do with the barriers.
All right.
But I also would like to have, and if the commissioners are open to it, some conversations around tweaking it just a little bit.
Yeah.
But
To Mike's point.
you can't tweak
Now,
that.
you can't tweak it tonight.
Because if you approve
Well, I
it
guess we
like
could tweak
this,
it tonight.
then you're gonna have to, in order to tweak it, you're gonna have to do it twice again.
Correct. But I guess you could tweak it tonight if you wanted to tweak it,
you
right?
could tweak it tonight, and then if you tweak it and you want to approve it again, that'd be okay. But
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
if you tweak in between approvals, then there's an
You start over.
84% chance you can't do that.
Are y'all open for tweaking, or y'all got your mind made up, the other three of you? Where y'all at? Where you at, Randy?
I made a motion.
Well, I know where you're at.
So,
Where you at?
I'm gonna call the question.
Okay.
All in favor, raise your hand. And all opposed, so that's a 3-2 vote. But you better get your sound barrier up, because we gotta go through a second reading. All right?
May I say something?
I don't know, I think we need to move on, really. I mean, it's been voted on, and we're moving on.
You got what you wanted.
I just want to make a statement about Mr. LaRose. I don't think he's understanding the time period from Monday through Thursday deal. We're only asking, it's not going to be every day. It will not be every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and Thursday.
But that's what, that's,
in popularity, it's going to.
No, it's not. It's only a
Promise you
testing
it
time.
will.
It might not be, it might go 4 months before we have a Monday.
We put up sound barriers last year.
And it's going to be
All right.
one car, and it's not, no,
We
it's
appreciate
not going to be
everybody's
before the
interest and appreciate you being here this evening, so we're moving on. Thank you, sir. All right. So, next is, on our item of decision is appointment for planning board members, and I think each one of the commissioners has a ballot. And you've got, on that ballot, we have 4 names, and you need to check 3 of those. that you would like to see on the planning board, and we'll hand those over to our county clerk, and she will tabulate that, and we'll know who we're putting on the planning board. Is there, while she's tabulating that, we'll move to our consent agenda, and I'll ask Mr. Wayne Rash to go through our consent agenda before we get those tabulations back and approved. So, Mr. Rash.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, we've got several things on the consent agenda tonight. Item number 11 is a budget revision for the Health Department. It's an agreement addendum in the amount of $8,101 would be used environmental health to implement state mandated sanitation regulations. And then the next item is number 12, which is Sheriff's Office weapons sales and purchase. Sheriff's Office sold old weapons, received a check of $16,940. This budget revision would allow them to use those funds to purchase new weapons. Number 13 is Emergency Services Acceptance of Emergency Preparedness Grant. This county recently received a grant for $50,000 for emergency preparedness. This budget revision allows those funds to be spent. The next item is number 14, Emergency Services Closeout Ambulance Purchase. And the background of this, a few years ago, we received $275,000 to purchase an ambulance. We added some money to that. There was an amount of $1,131 left over. This would move, this revision would move that money back to the general fund and close out that project. The next one is number 15, compensation for Board of Equalization Review. This would approve an adjustment for the Board of Equalization Review, which provides just a little bit more compensation for the chair of that board. Number 16 is adoption of a hazard mitigation plan. We're required to have this, and there's a resolution there that I hope you've had the chance to read for the adoption of that hazard mitigation plan. Number 17, approval of an audit contract with Martin Starnes. We've been using Martin Starnes, according to our financial manager, for about 20 years, right? At least. I'm sorry, 15. Okay, sorry, 15 years. This would continue that for the coming year. Of course, again, number 18 was removed from the agenda. Number 19 is to ratify an end date for the burn ban, April 2nd at 0800 hours. Just need to ratify that by board action tonight. Then number 20, Veteran Service approval to submit grant application. Veteran Service has the ability to and the opportunity to apply for a grant up to $20,000 that would be used to provide services to veterans. They need the approval of the board to apply for that grant. Number 21 is to the approval of my appointment, or a resolution for my appointment to the Western Piedmont Regional Transit Authority. You guys approved that appointment a couple of months back. They request a formal resolution, so that resolution is for that tonight. That is replacing the former county manager who was also on that authority. Number 22, approval to advertise emergency services positions. They're requesting to fill 4 vacant full-time and 8 vacant part-time positions. No new budget impact. Those are positions that are currently budgeted and are just vacant at this point. Number 23, approval to advertise a tax position. That is a tax collections position. They're getting ready to get to their busy season, of course, and their tax administrator would like to get somebody in and trained. Again, no new funds. That's a position already budgeted for. And then the next item, number 24, is approval to advertise a water position. Same thing, getting ready to be very busy there, and they're trying to approve that is a collection administrative assistant position there. Number 25 is Cages Mountain Interlocal Agreement, the plat map. Of course, a couple of meetings back, you'll remember that you guys approved the transfer of the property to the town of Cages Mountain. Our county attorney advised that we've now received the final plat, which shows all the details of that. He recommended approval of the board for that plat before we record it with the Register of Deeds office, which will be able to record the deed to actually affect the transfer of that property. Number 26 and 27 are applications for fireworks. Number 26 is for the town of Sawmills for an event at May 10th at Baird Park. And then the one for Granite Falls is for May 2nd at Granite Falls Parks and Rec. And so your approval of those is requested. Number 28 is a reappointment of Candace Hageman to the CCC and TI Board of Trustees. She's been a member of that board for a while now, and she and the college are requesting that we would reappoint her to that board tonight. And then the final thing on the consent agenda, of course, the approval of minutes from the March 10th meeting, and you've got those in your packet as well.
All right, so hearing the recommendations of the interim manager for the consent agenda, do I hear a motion that we approve it as presented?
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept this evening's consent agenda as the interim county manager is presented.
All right, any other comment or discussion about that? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. And at this time, I'll have our clerk read out the appointees to the, planning board.
Mr. Chairman, those appointed were David Deal, John Moore, and Clay Wilson.
All right, so hearing those on our vote, do I hear a motion that we appoint those three gentlemen to the planning board?
So move.
Any other discussion or comment? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. And then, so we're going to enter into a closed session pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11A6. And I think that is personnel matters is what that would be consistent with.
Yes, there was a motion provided in the back of your packet.
I'll make a motion to enter into closed session to discuss matters relating to personnel as provided in North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A6. So any other comment about that? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And we're going into closed session, and we do expect to have a decision when we come out of closed session. So thank you again for being here. We're going to take a recess before we start closed session.
Yes, I need that.
Of at least 10 minutes. All right, so we're coming back into open session and appreciate everybody sticking with us. Commissioner Starnes is absent. He's not feeling well, so because of that, and we're going to try to carry on without him. And but what we had in our closed session this evening was the recommendation to do a reduction in force of our current communications director position. And there's a policy that's going along with all of that. I guess I can say that in open session that
as long as you're not naming names.
Yeah, I'm not naming names, but the policy, we're going to be moving communications back over under our sheriff's office and under his direction, the sheriff and the staff there. So, but we've had that recommendation to do that reduction in force. So I'll make that in the form of a motion. Do we have any other comment or discussion about it? Everybody good? I'll call the question. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And there is none. So that is the decision out of the meeting.
That passes 5-0 since Mr. Starnes.
And since Mr. Starnes is absent, it still passes. His vote counts as an affirmative. So, all right. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Good night. Thank you. We are adjourned.
Good night, Irene.
Yeah.
Yeah.